Okay, cool. So we're recording now. So as always, we'll plan to make it public, but if anything gets said that you think shouldn't be public, then let me know and we'll stop the recording right then and then we'll start again. And
Okay,
if we don't stop it, we'll just plan to make it public. Sound good?
sounds good.
Awesome. Yay. I'm so grateful to be with you guys. And I appreciate the connection that we're having because it's been causing me to go deeper into the business aspects and how we support clients and the different levels that we support clients at, and what's sustainable and how we do it and all of that. So I really want to get into what you guys want to create and what your expectations are, and then see where we can meet you in terms of your expectations of what you're creating and what we can support. Just going off of what you sent, Pearl, when you said that you were hoping that maybe for like $60 you could have a couple hours with Emiliano just to kind of get started and see where things were going and that sort of thing. And I connected with Emiliano since then to make sure I knew what he was going to be charging us, because it's actually increased since last time he and I spoke. He's now going to be billing Uniting for Action $40 an hour. And I think that the minimum that I can bill him out at this point, because of the management that I have to, do with him, is going to be like $100 an hour. Just to be able to have him consulting with people, me reviewing his meetings and connecting with them and talking with them and guiding him. We're not at the point yet where, we've had a lot of consultants and they're all trained up. It's starting with me, it's starting with Emiliano, it's starting with the next people. It's a super high cost of personal consulting at this point, which is why, I've been working on creating all of these automated tools as much as possible. And I know that, it would have been good to have this kind of conversation early on. I've been trying to have everybody just say what it's worth to them and just start at that point. But I realize that we might be so far apart that we can't just make it whatever whatever you guys imagine it's worth. I want to kind of tune into what you think all of this is worth, and that's what we're going to talk about, and really tune into the specifics of what Uniting for Action is providing, and what you feel like you're getting and what it's worth to you and that sort of thing, because we want to find that middle ground where you're providing what you feel like it's worth to you, and we're providing as much value as we can, a combination potentially of personalized service, the concierge service like we talked about, and the self-service model, right? So just to give you an example, and I don't know, again, what you guys thought about the value from our last session in terms of doing the mind map and setting up the reality generating machines and those sorts of things. But at the moment, I'm going to start valuing that session with me personally at $300 is going to be like the value of what that session is. And then there's going to be, different negotiations, and people are going to be offering different things. I mentioned to you guys, the money that you provided as a loan was a huge value to me. So I'm ready to give you guys, substantial discount or credit for that. Sending referrals, sending people that can support on the business side. We're creating the system where the incentives can be, wide range of incentives, right? That we can bring everything that we can potentially offer. So it doesn't have to be just dollars, but, I'm trying to create the expectations for you guys of what our cost is on our side in order to do what we're doing. And certainly to develop the system, the technologies that you guys are seeing has been, years and years and years and years of sacrifice and development, and it doesn't exist on the planet. It's kind of like it's millions of dollars invested in the technology. And, now we're just trying to have people use it. Of course, we're not expecting people to pay millions, but this is where we're going to tune into, what is the value of what Uniting for Action is bringing into your world, in your world. Does that make sense?
And the communication is really important with that. When you gave a rough range of, I think it was between $50 and $100 for just the conversation with the fellow that you mentioned, I just picked a number in between because I did not know. what he would charge. And so for me, that in Canadian funds, it's $75. So that $60 translates into 75. And I thought that was sort of a midpoint. And it would have been for each hour. So what I was offering was really $120 just to just to connect with him, for that, just to even meet him. So that felt like there was a bit of a miscommunication there. And also it felt like the response was, it felt like you were saying the response was what we thought we would pay you, and that wasn't enough. And so there was a bit of vagueness on our side about what the questions were and the answers we got. And so anyway, so thank you for saying, giving some sort of value amount at this point.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is all, and I thank you guys for being the ones that I'm having these conversations to work these details out with. The first people that I'm, having these types of conversations, because like you said, it's not all clear. It hasn't been all clear in my head. I certainly didn't communicate it clearly. I get what you're saying now about, thinking of a figure in between. But I didn't get that you were mentioning an hourly figure. That wasn't in the text either.
That's
so
what
again,
my intention was. Yes, that it was per hour, for like $60 per hour for a couple of hours. So that wasn't clearly. So no, I wouldn't offer like $30 to somebody, but around $100 is usually what people will ask for. But I just picked a midpoint because if someone is at that lower rate, then that's helpful. If they're at a higher rate,
of course.
Pardon me. But on another level, I'm not exactly clear about everything that you have to offer. So then, now that you say $300 an hour, is like, well, maybe we can't afford that amount. So it's got somewhere in between there and to see what comes back from that, because we've only had one meeting really, and just so really not really certain what all you're describing to us, but it still doesn't feel like I have a handle on what all you're offering.
I totally get that.
Yeah, the details and all the work you've done, but on the outside here, it's just like this kind of. I know that you're trying to help people build their dreams, and you've shown us some of the computer part, the technical part of how to get started on it. And I'm still not exactly clear if we are bringing in people to you for building the network that you have, or if you have people already there that are ready to work with you, to work with us. So I don't know where we're at. So that's just my comment right now.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. And that's why I figured we needed to have an actual conversation in order to get more clear. I didn't think we were going to gain a lot of clarity by, just typing messages back and forth with each other. So, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate you helping to clarify where all the unclarities are so that we can address them. I went ahead and wrote out a bunch of notes in advance, anticipating, some of the things that you're saying, to be really clear about the value that Uniting for Action is providing. And I want to also, again, get clear about the current figures. So again, I'm going to start. I feel like at the moment, in order to create something sustainable in terms of my time, that I'm going to be billing out my time essentially $300 for an hour and a half session and $300 for an hour and a half follow-up. And I'm going to be making it $150 for those same things for Emiliano when Emiliano is managing clients. So it'll be, Emiliano will do a 1 hour and a half session for $150 and an hour and a half follow-up for $150. And essentially it'll be like I'm essentially billing at $200 an hour for any of my time, and Emiliano's billing at $100 an hour for any of his time. And for sure, I want to have, and we will have, much lower level billing, as we go forward. We'll have interns that are working for us that we don't have any overhead cost on directly. Of course, we'll have management costs and other kinds of costs. So we want to get it down to like nothing. but also what we're doing is creating a marketplace where anybody can show up, know how to use the system, and then show up, as a resource for you, right? So it's not just Uniting for Action that you can potentially hire, it's independent contractors that know how to use the system and can provide value for you, and they're going to charge whatever they're going to charge, right? And maybe you have a really skilled, nephew or niece who's in, high school or even middle school. This is the thing, is like a really intelligent middle schooler can really get into this system and be amazing with it, right? And so maybe you have somebody like that in your family, and so you have, essentially like a very inexpensive resource that can do really good work for you. You get what I'm saying? And that's where we'll have the whole range from, maybe it's somebody in your family that's not charging you at all the way up to me and everything in between, right? And even with me, this is a very early on figure that I'm creating just to actually work with people and get the systems down. Because as soon as possible, I'm only going to be working with, international CEOs and world leaders and, people on the highest levels to create the world, right? So people won't be able to hire me for, any amount of money really. But now when we're in the beginning, I want to work with you guys. I want to help you guys. I want to create the most value that I can for you guys within the constraints of my, time and where I can give my time, just because of, the pressures on me too, as you guys know, I'm under tremendous amount of financial pressure right now. So I have to make sure that I'm using all of my hours to bring in, the resources that I need just to live. Again, today was another day where I woke up without having money for food to get through the day. Fortunately, earlier in the day, I had somebody that, loaned me money, and it's been like a loaning process for this period because not enough people yet understand the value of the system to be paying for the system. Now we're shifting into that because you guys, like I shared with you, one of the first people to see the reality control panel. And I haven't even been having that many meetings yet. So to get back to your question about the network's at the very beginning of building. Like there's only a handful of people in the network at the moment. So we're at that early stage. I've worked with the Leadership Council, which is, a bunch of people that I'll be going back to, 30 student interns that I worked with last year that at some point I'll be going back, where I'm going to dive into the details again so you can understand the value that it all is for you on all of the different angles, and then let you guys sit with it and let you figure out, what the value of all of this is to you in a way that there's, an exchange, and the exchange that you're going to find in terms of how much you're going to value it then is going to determine how much full service we can provide or you want to have us provide, and how much, self-service options you have essentially. So does that make sense?
So for this meeting today, is it a $300 meeting that we're having right
now? I'm not billing you for this meeting, and I'm not billing you. I'm never going to bill you, without you knowing it, first of all. And I'm not going to like bill you, so to speak, for the last meeting either. It's going to be up to you to decide how much value it's worth to you. And I'm willing to have it be whatever, even if you guys say, in the end, it wasn't any value to us, please just give us back everything we loaned and, that's it. I'll live with that. I'm living with wherever people are valuing things, but I'm going to do a recap for you today to remind you and show you how this relates to you and where the value is for you, and let you review the video and review this video and review the tutorial information I'm going to give you and all of it, so that again, you can sit with it and really get how valuable is this for you, from your perspective, right?
So just so you know that at about 20 to the next hour, I have to go and work.
Yeah.
So, but you can continue on with Matthew, and I'll watch the video for if we run out.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm going to do Matthew mentioned we'd have about 40 minutes. I'm going to do my best to wrap it up in that time, but if we need to keep going, we'll keep going. But let me dive right into what I prepared for you to get, really back into where the value is for you guys in all of this, and why this is like unique value for you guys from my perspective, right? And that's where again, it's really up to you guys. I haven't seen anything like this in the world. If you guys have, or you guys know anybody that has, I definitely want to see what else is out there, that people have to choose from in comparison. Let me show you, where we're going with this. And I have the videos, by the way, on YouTube to share with you guys that I haven't sent you. I can remember, Matthew, if I sent you the videos from our first meeting, but I have the video from our last meeting as on YouTube as well as the mind map. So let's just start with the mind map as a reminder. It's going to pull up now, of kind of where we started in terms of really just diving into your world and starting to architect your world, from our conversation, essentially. So this is the process where, excuse me, if we, have another in-person session, either with me or with Emiliano, part of it is likely going to be going deeper into this to really, again, identify the specific supporters like we started to do around the video production, for example. And also, while I'm doing this, I want to have you guys pull up, if you don't mind, the reality control panel, if you guys have your login and all of that.
Yeah.
To go back into that, because we're going to kind of jump back and forth to look at it and see again how what's here translates into the reality control panel, and then how the reality control panel lets you manage your time and your money and your relationships in the most effective way you can to create the results of what you want in the world. So that's kind of the overarching statement. So did that make sense, that statement that I made? That I'm going to let you pull that up, and I'm going to pull this other piece up while you're doing that so we can.
Do you want me to hit the share screen?
Yeah, why don't you share it just for a moment, and then we're going to kind of bounce back and forth a little bit as you share that, and I'm going to, again, kind of dissect it a little bit. So here you're going to click on the profile, where it says profile on the right. Or actually, I added the control panel button. I forgot. I didn't even try that yet. Why don't you click on control panel and see if that works? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So here's the reality control panel. So this is where, again, what we're doing is we're taking these processes that you have, in this case, that produce the course videos. We're narrowing it down to the specific supporters that you need to have agreements with in order to accomplish, in this case, producing your course videos, right? So like we talked about last time, you can't do it without a videographer. That doesn't mean the videographer might not be Matthew or somebody else, but you need somebody that's going to be a videographer, right? And you need somebody that's going to bring the production equipment for the quality that you want. And you need somebody that's going to be your video editor. So these are the beginnings. There's probably more of the supporters that you need to produce your course videos. And then, and this is where, I've taken a little bit further with the time, the finances, and the relationship. I'm going to show you where I'm going with that. You still can't click on it at the moment, but I'm building out those pages right now. And I'm going to show you where I'm at in process with those pages so you can understand, the value of what the system provides for you. So any questions about what I just said or what you're looking at here?
No, that I understand. Yeah.
Okay, great. So let me go back to sharing, and let me share with you the piece I was just going to bring up. Okay, so one of the things I was going to mention as well is I'm getting, let me make this bigger for you guys so you can see all of this. I get that working with Uniting for Action is like a mirror for people. It's the value of the system is really dependent. It's dependent upon how much people are valuing what they want to create, essentially, and how much value they see in the system in order to, create the results. So the system is going to be as valuable as you make it, in a way. And I'll kind of mention, what I mean by that. So really what we have to do is we have to tune in to how valuable you're making the system and how valuable you're perceiving the system. And so the first thing, and I know we can't get too deep into this today just because of the time, but what are your targets? And I want you to actually tell me a little bit so that I have a sense of what you're thinking of. So Pearl, let's start with you since we were focusing on yours last time and we just looked at your control panel. If you have to, and maybe you've already done this, as you're envisioning your business over the coming years, like what's a target that you want to shoot for? And let's just, so we're comparing apples and apples. Let's say a revenue generation target for your business, in some number of years. So do you see it as I want to be generating this within 1 year, or this within 3 years, or this within 5 years, or how are you envisioning it in your head?
I haven't envisioned finances in my head.
Yeah.
What I envision is numbers of people. And I don't know, this car just backfired going down the road. What I'm envisioning is within this year, what I would like to see is every massage therapist at least knows my course, knows of the courses and knows of the information. And there's 5,000 RMTs in BC alone. So my goal of number of people to take some of the courses is 5,000. And it's not an unreasonable number, because if this is going global, then I'm just talking about locally in the province here. So what my envisioning is to have, to build community where I can teach people the basics of this process and the techniques, and then have support for each other, that other people can be practicing the same things or expanding them themselves. And then we have a forum where we come together and we all take this new information and see how it grows with more than just myself. If there's more people that are developing it, so that there's more therapists and there are more of the public that know about this work. And so that's what I envision.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thank you. That's a perfect starting point. And so again, we can't go deeper today just because of time, but those are your targets that we can say that's what you want within a year, or whatever the time frame is that you're going to set. And then we can start working backwards in your head, like what has to happen? Like, what is that forum going to look like? What is the community going to look like? What are the interactions going to look like? Where is that going to be happening? Who needs to be brought in to manage it? It's starting with the end in mind, and then figuring out what all the building blocks are in order to create that. Right. And then figuring out what is the, let's say, market rate for each of those building blocks. Right. Not that you can't necessarily get someone to do something for lower than a market rate, but that's going to be based on you inspiring them where they're willing to lower the incentives that you need to provide. You get what I'm saying? But at least what you're doing is you're setting an expectation of, now I see that in order to achieve what I want to achieve within a year, the market rate for all of the people that I need to do all of their things to have this happen is going to be $12,000. So it's a $12,000 budget for me over the next year in order to hire all the people, in order to have me at this place within the next year. You get what I'm saying?
What you're saying, yes. Matthew, do you want to say something?
Oh, I would just, from my perspective, and this is what I would like to see, but I think this is congruent with what Pearl's putting out, is, the first online course created and hosted online, so it's available for purchase and for people to learn from, and the first 1,000 sales for that. And so that could be in a year, but I see a 6-month time window for that to be more. I don't know, this feels like more action to me, but anyway, we haven't discussed that in that terms, but that's what came up for me.
And that's perfect, again, because now what you're starting to do is now you're starting to I think you guys froze. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, great. Now what you're doing, Matthew, is not only setting, like, what you shared, Pearl, was great in terms of, I want to have awareness amongst this many people. It's even more specific and helpful that Matthew's saying 1,000, sales, and then we look at what the average sale is going to be, and now you're looking at what your revenue is going to be from that, right? And then now that you have a revenue expectation, now you can say, well, how much do I think is a reasonable investment for me to invest in making this much money, right? If I'm expecting, let's just say, $30,000, from those 1,000 sales, then, and that's actually that's really low, right? Because that'd only be $30. That'd only be $30 a sale. So let's say $300,000, right? So I'm looking at $300,000 in revenue. What do I think my budget should be to build the system that's going to generate $300,000 in revenue in the first 6 months or in the first year, knowing that you're having a capital cost up front that you won't have to keep, investing every year. You built it once, you're building on it type of thing, right? So again, you're front loading a lot of your cost over time, and you have to look at, okay, if we're going to have 300,000 in the first year and 500,000 the next year and $1 million in the next year, what do we feel like we'd actually need to, pay to build something like that, right? I liken it to, like a house. Right? When you're building a house, there's so much. Let's say you're building from scratch and you have to hire an architect and designer and all, and you're putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into your house because you want to have your home that you're moving into for, a number of years of your life. And the business that you're building right now is that substantial, right? You're building a business that you're moving into and you're living inside of, right? Even more in many ways than your house, because you're living inside of it every day, right? So what's it going to cost for you to build this? And that's, again, obviously you can't answer it in this session, but this is after the session. I want to kind of leave you with that and let you sit with, what am I building and how much should it cost? Is it going to cost for me to build all of this, right? And that's why we're finding all of the supporters. That's why you have to identify all of the supporters to really identify what all their costs are going to be. It's a big unknown when you don't, I want to build all this, but I don't know who I need to hire and I don't know how much I need to pay them. And you get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't leave you in a place to really know how much is reasonable to pay this person, how much is reasonable to pay that person, how much is reasonable to expect that we're going to have money coming out of our bank account in order to create all of this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
So, and this is the first reality that this system and the consulting provides for you, right? Because what we're doing, again, is we're providing a mechanism starting with this to let you figure out where are all the people that are going to make all of this happen. And we didn't even build it all out yet, right? So we're going to build it out even more. And you can do this on your own. Again, now that I've showed you, you can use the mind map program. You can keep building it. You can do as much of this on your own as you can, or I can help you, Emiliano can help you, but whatever it's going to look like, your process is going to be to identify every supporter that you need to get to what your goal is, right? Because you're not going to get your goal accomplished until you have all the pieces in place performing their roles. And that's why we break it down to machine by machine, because as you're having any gear missing from any of those machines, and you can look at the one right in front of you, if you're missing your videographer or you're missing your video editor or you're missing your equipment, then you're not going to get that part of it done, right? Your video production you're going to be on hold, even while you may be doing other things. You may be building your website, you may be expanding your social media, but this part is on hold until I get that videographer in there. You get what I'm saying? And if you've been stuck on we only want to pay $100, for a videographer because somebody else we know only paid $100 and we think we can get it for $100. You can, wait for a month or two and see if somebody shows up to do it for $100. But after 2 months, you may decide, you know what, we're not getting anybody that's any takers. Let's say we're going to pay $200 to this person and see if we get anything. You get what I'm saying? And so that's part of the process. And that's where, again, it gets down to what you were just looking at with the machine. And I'm going to bring it back into this just so you can see. And I know, I'm looking at the clock and I want to give you everything I can in this short amount of time. And maybe we'll have to continue more later, but at least I'll leave you off where you can take some steps from here. So we went through a bunch of this. I'm going to kind of skip over a bunch of this. I can send all of this to you too. So here's the biggest thing about, what this is, why this is such a breakthrough for humanity and why I don't think there's anything else out there that I've seen, is that we're systematizing how you create anything. And this is amazing that we don't have this in our world already. the systemization is this, and you're going to just repeat this over and over and over again. You're going to identify the supporters that you need to create agreements with. We just talked about that. You're going to create stories for each supporter with a combination of inspiration and incentives. So when you have your control panel, and you have this machine and you've got these 3 supporters, and you've got this machine and you've got 5 supporters, and you've got this reality generating machine and you've got another 4 supporters. As you're looking at all of those, let's say, 15 supporters that you're looking at, every one of those supporters needs a slightly different story because of what you are offering to them and what you're looking to create, because you're asking them to do different things for you, and you're likely offering different things to each one of them, right? So you need a story to each one of them, which is what the story making machine provides, and what the reality with the control panel provides is it gives you the place to click on time and click on money and click on relationships in order to add more to your story to create more results. And I'm gonna actually show you the new part in just a second. We'll wrap with that. You're sharing your stories with the connectors. That's the people around you that can help you find what you're looking for. So I know somebody that knows the videographer, and I know somebody that has the production, equipment. So those are your connectors. And then the last thing, as I've been sharing with you, you can increase your time, money, and or relationships to accelerate agreements with supporters. So what I'm going to show you with that now is I'm going to show you how you increase your time, money, and relationships in order to create the agreements. But before I show you that, are there any questions about anything I just said? Did everything I said make sense?
It does to me. Makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. So we'll just run through this quick and we'll wrap with this for now. So so here you're seeing I'm building out those pages right now, and I'm in process. So I won't even go to the pages. I'm just going to show you the outline. So here's the time page. So here, when you click on time, let me make it bigger for you. These are going to be what you're going to see on the time page. Is the first thing that you can do to add time, and remember, the objective is create an agreement with each supporter. Okay, so you're going to click time next to a specific supporter that you don't have an agreement with. And then the options, the suggestions you're going to be given are add content to your goal page. And I'm actually going to show you the specifics of that. Create a more inspiring video for supporters. Create a more incentivized offer for supporters. Create a more incentivized offer for connectors. Share your story and offer on your social media, and reach out to prospective connectors to get their agreement to share your offer. So these are kind of like step-by-step ways that you can add time into this process to secure the agreement that you're looking for with that specific supporter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's essentially like a paint by numbers system, right? It's like showing you that you can get anything you want by simply repeating the same process over and over again for supporters. Like everything I need in my life is made up of supporters. All I have to do to get supporters is to give them a story that's a combination of offers and incentives, and share that story with a bunch of connectors. And then if I'm getting agreements, then great, I've got agreements. And if I'm not getting agreements yet, then I've got to up my time, or I've got to up my money, or I've got to up my relationships in order to reach more prospects or make it more incentivized or what have you. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Yes.
And so it's a very, very, like, you have total control of your life with this system. Nothing is left to chance anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can see where you're stuck in any reality, and you can just turn the knob to get unstuck. It might take some time, might take some money, might take some relationships, but you've got everything you need right here in order to get unstuck and move. You get what I'm saying?
I have to leave in just a moment, but I just wanted to say that the words that you're using follow a principle that I follow, that for any process there, you have to receive, hold, and give. And so that the receive, hold, and give is what you're talking about, because if one of those is not operating, then nothing's going to work. So it's a process of life. For example, you receive air, you hold it, and you exhale. It's that basic. And so what you're describing, I put into those words in my language, and so I understand what you're saying.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Great. I know you have to go. Yeah. So any other questions or anything you want to share, Pearl?
I will watch the video when you when you send it back.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it. Great to
Okay.
connect.
Cool.
Thanks.
Looking forward to connecting more soon.
Love you. Okay.
Awesome. So the one thing that I wanted to share, Matthew, and I'll let you, kind of
Okay.
run things from here with your questions or anything you want to clarify. But let me show you what I wanted to go just a little deeper to share with you where I'm going with this. So the add content to your goal page, I want to show you how I've broken that down because that's real specific. So your goal page is, we're going to actually look on your control panel. It's to create the course material. So you're going to click on that and we're going to actually get right into your goal page. But what I'm going to show you is that this is where you can do number one, which is add content to your goal page. So you've got 10 steps, 10 different ways that you can add content to your goal page to move you closer towards creating an agreement. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh. Okay.
So the first thing you can do, if you haven't already done it, is you can create an overview video. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. And then you can create overview text. And then you can create a supporter video. And then you can create supporter text. And then you can create connector video. And then you can create connector text. And then you can create your supporter requirements text, your supporter offer text, your supporter requirements video, and your supporter offer video. And once you've done all of this, now what you've got is you've got your full description of what you're seeking in that supporter and what you're offering to connectors. So essentially you have the portability of, what you're wanting to get, right? Like anybody in the world can now share this and those people, those prospects can flow to you, right? If any of what I shared is missing, then it's an incomplete story for people, right? Like maybe the offer isn't there, or, maybe I could increase the incentives more, or there's not a video yet, or the inspiration isn't quite there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, this is where I'm breaking it down to this like fine details. So again, it's paint by numbers. Like all I have to do is create a video for this, create text for this. Now it's ready for me to share it with my friend because now they've got everything they need in order to share it with their friends, and all the information is there and they can reply and I can create an agreement with them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, and I know you got the brilliance of this when we talked about the first time, and that's why I so appreciate it, is that you get the brilliance of the systematization of this, that it's breaking our entire reality down into these like step by step by steps. It's like there's no mystery now, like how we get things done anymore, right? Like we're living in a world of mystery. Like I need all this stuff done. How am I going to do it? Who do I need to find? How am I going to, get them to work with? You get what I'm saying? Like we're fumbling in the dark in that whole world. And this just like cuts right to the chase on every little detail. And because we're doing it the same for every single supporter, we get great at this. We're able to create videos like 2 minutes at a time, send it off or upload it or whatever. And now we're creating a whole new reality. We can spend a couple hours creating a whole new reality in our words and in our reality generating machines. And now we can put it out on Facebook and we've got people showing up and like the reality is coming into the world. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and because we're all playing the same game and we're all getting very good at the same process, we all understand what everyone else is doing. And now we're in this swirl of everyone just looking to support everybody because we're all invested in everybody's success, right? Like as much as I can send all these resources to all these people, I'm going to earn commissions. They're going to create the realities they want. My friends are going to get business from this, like, win-win-win all around. So I know I'm starting to kind of repeat everything, but kind of to wrap it all up, and let you ask any questions or get any clarifications you want out of any of all this.
No, I think I understand. I think, I understand the concept of looking at the end goal and building your steps backward from that. I haven't put it into practice nearly enough, but I've been aware of it for a long time, so I don't have any excuse. But I think, having it on the platform, and then especially if there is a network that's plugged into the platform, that's the ideal, where it's most valuable. But
Exactly.
even just going through the steps and having them, I guess, archived within the platform as well, make it, more concrete and thus doable, rather than wallowing in the big, here's the goal, and here I am, and how do we morph into that? How do we morph into the person that has achieved the goal?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, everything you're saying is perfect. And getting back to what you're just saying about the network, the system is going to be even more valuable when there's just networks for you to plug into that, like, you don't even need to know, who's in that network. You're just tuning into that channel and those people are there. However, what the system allows you to do before the network even gets built out, it allows you to leverage your network in ways that you're not able to now. And that's the thing, because like you were just saying, whatever ways you want to leverage your network or leverage any network is based on what you want to share with that network, right? Like, you can't use a network until you're sharing something with them, sharing a story with them that you're seeking agreement on, right?
right.
Whether you know the network or you don't know the network, you still are going to share a story that you're looking for agreement on, right?
Yeah.
So the first network for you to leverage is your own network, and to start to share stories into your network. Hey, my wife is looking for this type of person. Who knows this type of person? This is what we're offering, for anybody that knows that person, and here's what we're offering to refer them, So again, and it allows your network to work for you too, because again, you kind of have a sense of who's in your network, but you don't have a sense of everybody that's in everybody's network, right? And those are the people that are going to essentially be the people that are going to be the supporters that are going to show up to support you, right? If you had all the supporters you need in your network already, then you might, this would be a good management system, but it's not going to extend beyond what you already know. You're just essentially going to be creating offers to individuals that you already know, and you're essentially going to be settling for whatever their cost is, because you don't have other prospects to really choose from, right?
Right.
This allows you to reach beyond what you know of your network into other networks and beyond, to create offers, to create a number of different prospects showing up, so you can be in a negotiation and you can find the best fit for you, right? And that's happening all of the time. And so again, you're right. When the network that you're tapping into is much bigger, and you don't even have to see them, and you can just put something out there on a channel and those just show up, then yes, of course, it's going to be even more valuable. And just having the ability for us to have our network help us find what we're looking for, we don't even have those tools right now, because we don't have we have Facebook, and we do it, sometimes on Facebook or Twitter. Hey, I need a so-and-so, who knows a so-and-so, right? You've seen that on Facebook before. But again, that's not a sustainable system, because it's not creating a commission or a financial incentive for the people doing the referring. So you're just relying on like the goodwill you've built up amongst people, and you're not operating in a win-win-win environment with all those people like this is creating.
And it's also limited by the Facebook algorithms and how many people even see that, shout out. We just don't know. We're not in control of that. And so that is like wishing, it's like wishing and hoping, which, not a business plan, right? Right.
Yeah, exactly. We can't say it's not going to happen, and we know that we have blessed connections, and you and I and Pearl are going to have better results than most, because the universe is going to conspire for us. What this does is this accelerates everything, right? Because you're being so deliberate. That's the thing. When you're building out your control panel of all of these specific machines. So again, remember the machines. Let's bring it back here. So you're on Pearl's control panel right now. We have the first machine for production here, right? So production requires one reality generating machine that requires a videographer, a video editor. You already have your venue handled, so we're not putting it down there. Your production equipment, but then there's other, parts of it that, require other machines to get built, right? The whole in-person part is going to have, several different machines that are going to manage the whole in-person part of this, right? Like reaching out to the accreditation agencies and having a whole communication with them and getting the accreditation down and all of that, right? Like the whole accreditation is one machine to be built, right?
Yeah.
As another example. And then, the written materials are going to be another machine to be built, right?
Yeah.
And then the website's another machine to be built, right? So again, when you're looking at your control panel, now you've got machine, 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 machine. Every one of those machines are made up of all of these different supporters, right? So now you're looking at your control panel soon. You'll have, 20 or 30 or 50 supporters that you're looking at on your control panel that you need to fill in to get all of these machines functioning, right? And
Right.
especially if you have like a 6-month time frame that you want all of this functioning within 6 months, you're going to every day need to be looking at your control panel saying, what supporter can I create an agreement with right away, right? Like, what's my next supporter? Where do I need to put time into building out this page in order to put the information on that page that will allow me to share this with a certain connector that can connect me with that type of supporter? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like as you're looking at your control panel, you're going to be seeing, I need to put time over here. I need to put time over here. I need to increase my incentives over here because we're not getting results yet. I need to share this with more connectors because I think my incentives are enough, but we're just not reaching enough people yet. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're using that control panel to, like, every day make decisions to, every day get another supporter show up, or every 3 days or every 4 days, whatever it is. But when the whole game you're playing is, I need 30 supporters in the next 6 months in order to make all of this happen, and not just like need them within 6 months, you need them like working together, right? Like I need them all within the next 3 months. So they've got 3 months working together so that we have this whole result after 6 months. You get what I'm saying? And this is where, again, it brings all this reality to you, right? And especially once you start to layer all the finances in it, right? Once you start to realize like all that you have to pay all of these different peoples in order to create all of this, it starts to create real priorities for you. Like, we don't have money to pay everybody this week. We're going to have to choose who we're going to pay this week to get this done. And then 3 weeks from now, after we've done this course, we'll have more money to pay these other people. And, this gets you get what I'm saying? It's like you're managing everything based on the limited time and limited finances and limited relationships that you have, but it gives you a control panel to prioritize everything so that you can be maximizing the value of your time and your finances and your relationship in order to accelerate this process to create the results as quickly as you possibly can, right? And that's where the guarantee from me and from Uniting for Action is that in using this system, you're going to far exceed any timeline than you can without using the system, because I just, encourage you to just do a thought process of, how would I do this if I wasn't doing it this way? It's like, what else would I be doing, and try to compete with the speed and intentionality and, directness that this control panel is giving me to accomplish this process. Right. And again, if there's any other systems out there that are even in the ballpark, please share them with me, because, anything that we can incorporate in terms of technology and techniques and all will just be strategic partnerships that, that we're having with other organizations. Because again, this is still at very early stages. If I find any software company that's doing anything like the mind mapping as a good example, we're not going to build a mind mapping system. We're going to do a strategic partnership with a third party that's doing that. Right. And we're not going to do these other parts as long as we can find third party. It's the whole win-win-win, like synergy, like, we're all creating it together. Right. This whole system is getting created by the world together. What I'm doing is just outlining a vision so that all the pieces can start showing up. right? Which is exactly what Pearl is doing for her business and exactly what you're doing for your business, is we're giving you a system to be able to speak into existence everything that you want to have happen, and divide all of your speaking into all of these stories in organized fashion that tell the stories to the right people in order to create the results that you're looking for.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And the way I want to rephrase that last thing is to tell the stories to all of the specific supporters with the exact, inspiration that you can provide to each one and incentives that you can provide to each one to create an agreement with them, right? And this is where, again, it comes down to as simple as that. Essentially, is you got your control panel. Here's all the supporters. I need to tell different stories to all these supporters to create agreements with them. Here is my, management system that gives me the ability to tell the stories to everyone, have them show up and manage all of this, right? And check them off one by one so I can see where my realities are getting created, and I can see, which realities are lagging behind and I need to give more time to, or I need to give more money to, or I need to find more people that can share this with more people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all of it in a nutshell again. And any other questions or comments or anything that you want to talk about, I'm certainly happy to. But also what I want to do is I want to kind of encapsulate all of this into like a package, essentially, for you guys to keep, reviewing this video and this whole package to see all of these pieces and keep understanding how valuable you want to make this. To me, everything I just shared with you, this whole process, the whole technology, everything. Again, if we just, as an example, if you were looking at a $300,000, enterprise that you're looking to build, I would think that, and it actually doesn't even matter what the final is. To me, like 10% or 20% of a total, let's say, budget, is like one way to look at even just like cost savings, even just efficiencies, right? Is Uniting for Action saving me 20% over what I would have to, pay, or the time it would take, or whatever, if I didn't have all of these systems, right? Like to me, it's even more like 100%, or it's even more like, I think, honestly, for most people with very sophisticated visions that require a lot of pieces, like Pearl's does, for a lot of people, it's the difference between just like sitting on it for years, like I was for all of these years with all of these stuff, like not knowing how to get it out of me, not having a way to get it out of me, and it being alive in the world. Like when you look at it from that perspective, like how valuable is it for you, the difference between wishing all of everything in my head was alive in the world and having a mechanism that actually allows me to have everything that's in my head alive in the world.
Yeah.
That's where it gets into real value. That's where, somebody like you that really gets that on a deep level, it's like, wow, like I want to support this at the deepest level. I want to find all these other people. I need to connect Jared with this person. I need to connect Jared with this. Like you shared before, the world needs this, right? Like everyone needs this. Like we need this in the world. We need to find ways to get this supported on the highest level. What's the highest level I can support it at, so that I can have these tools, and Jared can build out this part and he can build out this part, and all these parts can get built out, because you get the vision of it, but we still need to build it all, right? We still need people showing up that are crowdfunding the whole thing so we can build everything, right? And I'm building everything I can to give you a functional system in this moment. And even the parts that I'm working on right now are what I just showed you. I'm building that time page, I'm building that money page, and I'm building that relationship page, so that, when you log into the control panel in the next couple of days and you click on each of those and you say, I do have a couple hours of time. What can I do with those couple hours of time? You click on it. Here's your step by step. First do this, second do this, third do this, fourth do, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's no more mystery for you. It's all right there. The system is fully functional because it lets you push a button and actually put the time into it, and push a button and put the money into it, and push a button and put the relationships into it. So you're actually doing what you need to do in order to move each of those along to get an agreement with each supporter that you need. You get what I'm saying? It's the end-to-end functional solution. that level of functionality is, we're within days of that, you know, where you can literally push the button and the system is there and it tells you exactly what to do. And you can film a 2-minute video and upload it and then put the link in there and you've got that part done. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so that's where we are with the system now. And I think we've covered, I mean, you covered everything that I wanted to cover. Do you have any other questions or anything
No,
else?
I think that's the good step for today. That's
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm going to package everything up. I know you mentioned that you're going to be on tour, which is awesome. Congratulations that you're touring. Where are you going to be and what are you doing?
Well, to the interior of BC.
Nice.
And I'm co-facilitating a retreat of the 10th through the 14th. And then the retreat ends in the afternoon on the 14th, and I'm driving an hour and a half to a nearby town where I have a performance that evening. I'm teaming up with a ecstatic dance DJ who is pretty well known in that whole scene, and she lives in Nelson, British Columbia. And so we're gonna sandwich an ecstatic dance with a sound healing journey for like half an hour. Then we'll have an hour dance and then another half-hour sound journey. So that'll be beautiful. And it's my first time working with her, and we've been in communication over the last 3 or 4 years, but we haven't even met in person yet. So
wow.
Yeah, and then the following 3 nights I have a few hours closer to home. I have 3 more events the following 3 nights. Just me solo doing sound healing concerts. So awesome. I'll be in Kelowna, British Columbia, the 15th, Summerland, the 16th, and Vernon, the 17th. Then I'll drive home on the 18th.
That's amazing. That is so great. That is so great. I'm excited for you. That I want to, before I forget, that one of the things that was coming to mind with the ecstatic dance. Do you know if the person you're working with is already planning to have a videographer there? Do you know what she's doing to capture it in video?
Yeah, you know what? We haven't discussed that. I will definitely get on that because that would be brilliant. Yeah.
This is the type of thing, again, that Emiliano and or whoever you're working with in Uniting for Action is going to help you make sure that you're on top of all of these things, because for what you just described, she's pretty well known. She's very good. You haven't worked with her before. You need to have quality video from that. And
sure.
And obviously there's a wide range of quality as well, right? Yeah. But that's a gold mine right there potentially for you. And I mean, actually, you haven't showed me your video vault yet and all that. And we will start to get into all of that as we start to have more sessions or go deeper or however we're supporting you. But this is where the rubber meets the road, right? It's like, what do you need to do in order to create your big visions? And then we come back and we realize we need really high level video. We need these other things. We need testimonial videos. We need, all these different things that come into play. Yeah,
for sure. I'm just sending you my YouTube channel right now on the chat.
Yeah, I did see your YouTube channel and I did watch a bunch of videos and actually, yeah, and I really loved it. I really, cool. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have told you that after our first meeting, I went through and watched a bunch of videos and I'm really super psyched about the videos that you've got, the production, how you're presenting things. And this is where again, we don't it seems like we'll have to wait till you get back from your tour, but connecting you with some of the people that I've mentioned connecting you with, I'm really interested and excited to see what types of things we can create. And also I've had some ideas and some bigger visions that I want to share with you, again, when we have more time to go deeper. But again, it comes down to, in my mind, I think you have to work your way back a bit to see where you want to go and how quickly you want to get there, because when you're going from that perspective, then it creates like a real you're able to make decisions about, you know, is this appropriate? Is this costing too much? Do I have to wait on this? You know, can I get this done? Can I get that done? Like, you're bringing the financial reality and the time reality into your visions, right? You're like starting to get a reality check on certain visions. Like,
Yeah.
once I map it all out, now I see that, like, I can't do all this in 6 months. You know, I'm going to have to spread it out over 12 months, you know, or we don't have, you know, the funds to do all of this, but we will after this date. So we'll have to do this part now and then this part after this date. And you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you don't even have reference for all of that without having the whole map of, you know, where you're going, what your ultimate goal is, what your costs are, what all of your supporters are, what all of their costs are, what all of the timeframes are. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it makes it really hard to make decisions when you don't have the context that you're making the decisions within, right? Once you have the context, then you get to have the reality and make choices and all of that. So, okay, perfect. We'll package all of this up. I think, again, if there's more that I want to, let me kind of take a couple of steps back just to wrap up, because I do want to help you and Pearl as much as I can with whatever time I have. And I don't want it to be, first of all, I want you guys to value it as much as you can, you know, as you can value my time and what we're offering and all of that. But also, I want to be generous, you know, with my time with you and with Pearl. I would want to do that anyways. Also, again, because of the financial support you provided at that time, which, again, I'm still going to consider a loan until you tell me otherwise how you want to work out our finances, that, you know, I want to give you as much as I can for whatever, you know, exchange is there. And that's why I need to have you guys tune in to what you feel like you can exchange, so I can tune into what's the most that I can give in exchange for what you guys can offer, essentially.
Okay.
That makes sense? Do you feel like that's a good way for us to kind of figure out where our, like, meeting point is going to be?
Yeah, it's necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, because then we can see, can I spend time with you, or can we have Emiliano spend time with you, or do we need to find, you know, a lower level consultant or or an intern, or do you have a family member, you know, that wants to intern, or, you know, what would it look like, right? And then again, you know, you've got the self-service tools that'll be more and more functional and will be available, and then you can decide, you know, whatever. Yeah, it essentially what it's going to come down to is whatever your, let's say, monthly budget is going to be. We're going to figure out what is the most we can give you for that monthly budget, as a combination of, you know, concierge and personal service, and, you know, self-service through the system and that sort of thing. So, make sense? Feel good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. And like I shared last time, you know, referrals are very valuable. Obviously, referrals to people. Let me just pull this up, because these are the values that you can provide beyond just being, you know, a paying client, so to speak. These are all the values of the wins for me, for Uniting for Action. We obviously need paying clients at this point. Anybody that wants to support financially through a donation, if there are people that just like, I want this alive in the world, here's $10,000, or a loan. Similarly, I want this alive in the world, I can loan you $10,000 for the next 3 months. Doesn't have to be that much, I'm just giving examples. You know, others that can be a great case study, which I hope both you and Pearl will be, you know, people that are power users, people that are using the system, that people can see how they're using the system, and they can be an inspiration for others to use the system, that we can also get good video from, like we're doing, you know, that we can have good video that we can use. That's a value for us as well. And then also, you know, that are being inspiring. Some people that I've worked with in this way, you know, and you were like this a lot in the first meeting, and Pearl was in the second meeting, you know, this is amazing, the world needs this, you know, those types of things are like, you know, gold for us, right? That becomes part of our, you know, video promotions or that clip of you saying the world needs this, that'll be a 5-second clip in our video, right? So that's a value to us. And then someone who can help us grow the business, business executives, lawyers, accountants. I mean, every aspect, like we talked about, of growing from here to a Fortune 500 business. We need all of those business people to show up, right? And then last is referrals to all of the above, right? So besides you potentially being any of these people or knowing any of these people, referring us to any of those people or any people that knows any of those people, right? So that's essentially, again, those are all the wins that we're looking for. And any ways that you can bring any of those wins are, ways that essentially it's less money that you can be laying out and still be providing value, right? You can make up, like if you're providing enough referrals and I'm getting all of this business revenue from all of these other people, you don't necessarily have to pay anything, right? Because the value that you're bringing in is in excess of what I would need in order to give you personal time or have Emiliano give you personal time. And so again, it's a combination of everything, right? And that's why we say it's incentives, because it's everything. It's whatever is of value in the value exchange.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, brother. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for our connection. Thank you for doing this deep dive and being the container of this conversation, right? That we can be really upfront and honest and straightforward and just sort it all out and find the ways to create the best win-win and let this be an example for everyone of how we do this, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, grateful for you, and excited to continue the conversation and, excited to see and hear your tour and the video and everything.
All right. Thanks, bro.
You're welcome. Thank you, brother. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.